și vă
Și
încurajez.
auzi, 2 secunde, mai zi o dată, ce facem rapid?
Ok, o să încep în limba engleză legat de descrierea proiectului, dar înainte să vorbesc despre descrierea proiectului, o să întreb dacă se vorbește engleză sau numai limba română și dacă nu trec pe limba română. Vorbesc puțin legat de proiect, apoi le dau timeline-ul și după ce termin cu timeline-ul o să numesc, nu știu, pe cineva, vă prezentați, spui foarte, foarte puțin legat de ce kit ai pregătit tu pentru ei, dar nu intri în foarte mare detaliu pentru că asta vei face în workshop.
Da.
Apoi fiecare se prezintă pe el, la fel, aceeași poveste și apoi intră Q&A-ul și să sperăm că sunt întrebări. Dacă nu sunt întrebări, atunci o să folosesc Rareș chestia aia pe care ai trimis-o.
Super.
We're now live. Alex, do you want to take us from the top?
Hello everyone, my name is Alex and I'm the project coordinator of the GameDeMic project. Before we start, is there anyone speaking English or just Romanian? If there's anyone. No, if there's no response, I would just assume that people are speaking English. So I would just carry on speaking in English until someone else says something else. So GameDeMic is a project which aims to attract young people between the age of 14 and 24 to create games, create narrative games by following different kits. And the project will have as a main theme the coronavirus pandemic. So your games will have to focus on the coronavirus subject. There will be 5 workshops, and after the end of the workshops, there will be competitions every 2 weeks. And at the end of each competition, the winner will gain around £100. Throughout the duration of the project, you will also have the opportunity to contact different people if you need help. So, Raresh, if you can leave in the chat the email for GameDeMic for people to contact us if they have any issues. What the project aims is to make sure that people engage with games and know how to create games. So if you never created a game, that's fine. You have your professionals here who can help you develop a game. You can work in a team, and you will also learn different skills about how to actually create a game. In terms of the key dates of the project, the first workshop will take place on the 9th of August, and it will finish on the Friday of 13th. And then the next and the first competition is between the 14th and 22nd of August. And that will start on the Saturday, finish on the Sunday, the following week, and then the winner will be announced as well. On the 11th of August, we will have the first guest talk and the Q&A. On the 21st to 29th of August, that will be the second competition. On the 18th of August, that will be the second guest talk. And then we will have on the 28th of August until the 5th of September, the third competition. And then on the 1st of September, the following guest talk. Between the 11th and 19th of September, that's the fourth competition. On the 15th of September, that's the next guest talk. Between the 25th September and the 3rd of October, that's the final competition. And then on the 29th of September, that's the last guest talk. Vlad, if you want to introduce yourself to the people and talk a little bit about what you're going to help them.
Hey, thank you. So my name is Vlad. I am a second year uni student over at Bournemouth University, but I am from Romania. I will be teaching you the Ink Kit, which is not exactly a game engine and not an engine itself. It's more of a scripting language, which is really powerful, but not really as visual as the other engines or pieces of software presented in this event by my colleagues. So if you want to write more advanced interactive stories with more powerful systems, Ink is definitely your go-to tool. And I think that's about it for me.
Okay, Dragosh? I think you're on mute.
Yeah, you're muted.
Welcome, Saudi. Okay. I'm Dragos. I'm a University of Suffolk graduate. I finished the games design course, and I'll be showing you how to use Twine. Twine is a very visual way of programming interactive stories. They're going to be mostly text-based, and it's really easy to understand and pretty easy to make complicated stories really quickly.
Thank you. Aurelian?
Hello, I'm Aurelian. I work in the game industry for I think 8 years now, but the last 5 years as a game designer. And I'll be teaching you about Charisma.ai. It's some kind of engine. Let's call it an engine, but it's quite easy to work with. Don't be afraid of the name engine. With which you can create interactive stories. You can actually design and build a chatbot, if you know the bots like Cleverbot or others. Don't remember a lot now. It's pretty nifty. You'll see. You'll like it. That's it from me.
Thank you. Mishu?
Hi everybody, I'm Mishu. I'm a fairly recent game design graduate from the University of Suffolk along Dragos, and I'm the founder of Deadline Studio Bucharest. And I'm gonna teach you how to use Echo Studio, which compared to the other platforms and engines, which focuses more on the art, on the text part of the game, Echo is more on the video part. So instead of writing and coding stuff, you will be actually filming the scenes and everything, and then putting them together. That's about it about Echo and myself.
Okay, thank you, Mishu. Radesh?
Hey folks, my name is Raresh. I work as a program manager. I'm one of the founders for Game Anglia, and I'm gonna be showing you how to use the MakeCode Arcade engine, which is an engine made by Microsoft. For those of you who have used Scratch before, it's basically like Scratch on steroids. And it's basically an engine that you can use in your browser, in any browser, including on mobile, including on Macs, which are horrible to play games on. And that allows you to put together blocks of code to make things move on the screen and to create stories. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do. Basically, the game that we're going to be making is going to be top down, and we're going to be moving a character up, down, left, right. We're going to help them navigate a little story and find the cat. But of course, because these are kits, you can then customize that with whatever you want to tell your own story. Did that all come through?
Yeah, I think it froze for a second for me. Okay, so now we can move on to the question and answer session. So I'm not sure if there's any questions from anyone. Vlad, do you have anything in terms
Questions from me or for me?
of the participants?
For the participants.
For the participants. Uh, it's just if if either of you has ever used a programming language before, because it would be useful to me to know how to explain ink better, since it's not exactly a programming language. Don't be too scared of the term, but it's more on the technical side, so it would be useful to me to know how advanced you are on this side of development.
I think it might be good if we just continue the discussion until the viewers write in chat. So
Yeah.
with ink, Vlad, what was, from my point of view as somebody who's not used ink before, like what was the interesting part about it when you compare it to the other engines?
I would say the power. You can create some really complex stuff with ink. It's not the easiest thing to wrap your head around because you don't have nodes or, the blocks in front of you to fully visualize what's going on. But you can really build up some very interesting and unique systems.
Hmm. Interesting.
Anything else?
Did anyone else get to play around with ink? Mircea, Dragos, Aurelian?
No, not me. I only play with Twine and Charisma.
Me neither. It's Twine and Echo for me. I had a look at Ink, and it doesn't seem too difficult.
It's not. It's really not. It's easy to get into, but hard to master.
I really enjoyed playing with Make Code Arcade, but I haven't tried.
Well, I think from my end, I've done pull the disappearing act. From my end, I really like Make Code because it's the type of tool that I wished I had when I was like at that age. Like it's the sort of engine where compared to Unity, you don't need to know how to code. You just need to know how logic works, which are two completely different things. And yeah, one can lead to the other, but it was really cool. You should actually give it a go. Join the workshop, 10th of August. Gonna
Yeah,
be
so it's
looking at
like what I've seen in your engine, Raresh. Well, in the one your GameDeMic Arcade, I think so. I always forget what it's named. Um, it's kind of like an Unreal Blueprint beginner's guide. Let's call it like that. Like you can create code with blocks. So, but a lot easier than what you need for a lot easier to work with than with the Unreal blueprints. So it's kind of the perfect place to start if you want to understand and learn a little bit of code logic. Let's say it like that.
Mhm. And what about yours?
About Charisma,
Mm.
well,
Maybe if you can give some of the challenges that maybe the participants will face
yeah,
by
yeah.
using your kit. Yeah.
You're talking to me or with
Yeah,
Raresh?
I was talking with you, Aurelian.
Okay,
Like,
okay.
yeah.
Well, sincerely, I didn't see any big challenge because it's really quite easy considering that you're going through the template, through the tutorial template. Um, there's actually for real, there's actually no challenge for for charisma. I didn't find anything hard. I think the only peculiar thing that I found in charisma is the thing that well, you have to create stories in interactive stories in English because charisma has some kind of AI that interprets your uh, what you're saying in the chat, right? So if some of you or well, any of the participants interacted somehow in the past with Cleverbot or any chatbot, uh, you it's quite not sure how to put it. It's quite similar to a chatbot. Like whatever you're saying in the chat, you're in games that. Okay, let's start from the beginning. So in games created in interactive stories created with Charisma, you can chat with characters from the story in the exact way in which you can interact with Cleverbot or with any chatbot. Um, so basically, any word or anything you'll say to the story character, the characters will react with something. So in order to do that, you cannot code or create situations or context as a story developer for anything that a player would say, right? So Charisma has this AI that interprets what players are saying in order to create suitable responses for their for the players' inputs. Let's put it like that. And that's quite peculiar, but I'm sure that it's not a challenge to create something in English, really. Apart from that, it's just drag and drop and change some. You have to change some variables that are really well explained in the tutorial template.
Thank you.
That's it. So no challenge basically, if you know English.
With Charisma, Aurelian, can you talk a little bit about mobile and how you actually play the game? Because I think that could be one of the places where people get stuck.
Yeah, so it's not that hard. Like after you're creating your story, after you created your story in the engine, you can just click the publish button or something like that. Don't remember exactly what it's called, but it's there and it's easy to use. And you can play it on mobile if you log in into Charisma AI with your account. Not sure if that's what you're asking actually, but
Yeah, because I mean, you make the story in on your PC, right? Like in
yeah,
Chrome or Mozilla or whatever, or Safari, and then you play it on your phone, right? So you need to
yeah,
push
you can play it
the
on
story.
your phone or on web of what I remember. But yeah, you play it on your phone. You only have to have the Charisma app installed and just log in into Charisma with. Well, you can create your own account, or you can just log in with your Google account or Facebook, of what I remember. I'm sure that you can just log in with Google. I'm not sure if you can log in with Facebook. But anyway, it's quite easy. You don't need to publish it or something on Google Play or anything. It's really, I don't know, anyone can do it.
So like
Yeah, cool.
straightforward.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Coming back to you, Misha, do you feel like there are any challenges with your kit? Because I know yours is slightly different than the others.
Okay, just let me get the list. Nah, I'm kidding. Most of the challenges comes from outside the kit. So as I've mentioned, in Echo itself, you barely do any work in the kit. So you have to film the scenes, write the script, everything it's outside of the kit itself and of the engine. So for example, think about any, I don't know, screenwriting, filmmaking challenges that you would have. So is the lighting okay? Does the camera pick up the sound? Is anybody or your pet or your mother gonna walk into in your room while you're filming? But with the engine itself, there is barely any challenges. I think what's worth mentioning is that besides Echo Studio, there's the Echo developer side that comes with coding possibilities and multiple options. That's a real challenge. I'm not a programmer. I know some coding, but it scared me the moment I opened it. But that thing it's completely optional and it adds some niche features that could be useful for 1% of the users, but you don't have to bother with it when with just 1% of the effort you would need to understand that you can use 99% of the whole engine.
Okay.
So yeah, sorry, I wanted to what I understood from Echo, because I didn't play with it, but what I understood, you can just create interactive stories close to Bandersnatch
Yes,
or
exactly.
things like that. Yeah, so that's what I wanted actually to know. That's all. Um, I think that it's a pretty powerful tool. Of what I know, and I'm not sure, but of what I know, Bandersnatch, if someone knows Bandersnatch, is a Black Mirror. It's a Black Mirror interactive episode. You can play it on Netflix if you want. It was made with Twine, and I think with Twine it's quite a lot more difficult to do it than with Echo. So if you want an interactive movie or something, or an interactive experience, I think Echo is a movie interactive experience. I think Echo is a lot more fit for that.
Well, yes, I think the
Yeah.
only thing that would have been easier to implement in Twine than Echo is just having some variables that changes the outcomes. But anything other than that, you can do it 10 times faster in Echo, even faster
Yeah.
than that. And again, it's not just Bandersnatch. There's a lot of interactive movies that you can find. Even
Hmm.
on Netflix, I remember, if any of you remembers Man vs. Wild by Bear Grylls, there's a You versus Wild. That's pretty interesting. And again, that's a good way of showing up the challenges. Imagine that Bear Grylls had to spend at least 6 times more time filming in the wild for one episode than a normal one, just because it had to film every outcome and everything. So that's the biggest issue with using something like Echo, because you
Yeah.
have to do the groundwork
And
uh,
that's
3 or 4 more times.
yeah. Sorry for interrupting, but I wanted to add to that, and that's why Bandersnatch actually was a single episode rather than a 3 or 4 episode season like Black Mirror does usually.
Exactly.
So yeah, because for a full experience of Bandersnatch, 1 hour and a half or 1 hour, they actually had to film like 6 hours or something.
Yeah, exactly. That's the
Yeah.
biggest downfall with this kind of experiences, because you're never not gonna be sure that the player himself will see all of your content. Just gonna be one main branch that they will follow.
On the other hand, what's awesome about it is that you can actually choose stuff and you can actually build your experience the way you want it, or just choose stuff and see how it evolves. But it's a lot more interesting in that way.
Definitely. If you want, I can give a good example of this type of entertainment being, if anybody remembers Telltale Studio games, Walking Dead and everything, it's literally the same thing. They even made Telltale's Minecraft story mode for Netflix using something similar that just gives you two options instead of other gameplay features. So definitely, the experience itself can be easily achieved, and it's a quite nice thing to do yourself. It's just be prepared to do the work for it.
So what's your story about? What's your Echo's template going to be about?
Oh, my eco template. I went the easy way out. I took the easier way out of just having me telling a narrative, and instead of me having to film the action, it's just me there as a storyteller, and you just get to pick the story. But I did a twist with it, and I've added quite a few of big mistakes that you can make with Echo, so I can prove to you, like, here, I made this. Now you see why I made this? Don't do this. So, for example, me, whenever I'm talking, I'm just like, yeah, no, don't look at the camera, especially if you're talking to the audience, or just randomly talking and then, yep, no audio, or not checking if my phone or camera or microphone had enough batteries. And those are, you can overlook those mistakes pretty easily and then regret it. So imagine working for 6 hours on a project like this, and after 6 hours, you just noticed, oh wait, I didn't have enough storage, and I only recorded for 1 hour.
Yeah, that's probably the one of the biggest lessons that you can you can teach other people that are working with Echo, to just from time to time stop and see if everything working as planned, right?
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
why most filming crews have an entire army of people just running around, making sure everything works. And especially if you're doing it yourself, it's gonna be a lot of work. So I recommend working in teams or at least pairs for this.
Hmm.
Anything else?
Don't think, but I wanted to ask the same question actually for for Vlad for his engine. What were the biggest? What do you think are the biggest challenges with working with Twine? Twine, I think Twine is yours. No, yeah,
No, it's ink.
Ink.
no, it's Ink. We think.
It's
Sorry,
no,
yeah,
it's
Twine
okay.
is Dragosh is what I know.
Well, the two main challenges were first following up your story graph because since Ink is a purely text-based editor, you need to have some kind of visual way to represent your story. So what I would recommend is having some kind of notebook or paper and just drawing some really basic plan of how you want your decisions to affect your story, and then take that plan and implement it through code. And the second one would just be remembering the various syntax keys for doing certain commands, because you're gonna see in my workshop that 90% of writing script in ink is like writing English. It's really basic, but the keywords are usually represented by various combinations of weird punctuation marks or tildes or stuff or stuff like that, and it's really easy to misplace, I don't know, a tilde for a dash or similar scenarios. But Ink does come with a very nifty cheat sheet that explains each and every command with examples and thorough descriptions, which makes it really easy to come back to. Like, if, even me right now, I haven't used Ink in like at least 2 weeks, and I might have forgotten a few of them, but just like 3 minutes just going through that cheat sheet, and I'm sure I'm gonna get back up to speed.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty awesome actually for a game jam that you can learn it so fast, right?
Yeah, yeah. As I
Yeah.
said, it's easy to get into, and 90% of the script is just you writing the story in English. They really made sure to make it as as beginner friendly for a scripting language. And did we lose Alexandra? Oh,
Nope,
No,
all
she's
good.
back.
oh,
Yeah.
back from the
Hello.
grave.
Sorry, internet connection.
You're
Okay, sorry,
saying.
I haven't heard what was last said. Sorry.
Yeah, we were just talking about the biggest hardships that come with you using ink, and I was just mainly saying about how it would be useful to draw some kind of visual graph on paper first to map out your story. And then the second hardship would be just remembering the various keyword combinations for the commands in script. But ink does have a very handy cheat sheet in the kit that helps you get up to speed.
Before we wrap up, can I just go back on Varish and Dragos if you have any challenges in your workshops that maybe participants will face? So if I start with you, Varish.
I think for me, the biggest challenge has to do with wanting to add complexity, and it's something that everybody here will know as overscoping. So it's when you're like, oh, I have my hero, well then my hero moves, I'm going to make them run, and while they're running I'm going to also implement a racing system, and while I'm implementing the racing system I also want to implement physics, and like at some point the engine can't do that anymore. So it's good to take some time and try and understand why we designed the kit the way that it is, and try to stay within those constraints, because then that's what's going to really help you stay focused. The way that we added the contest, and Alex, you're going to talk about that, or we're going to talk about that in a bit, is that you only have like 2 weekends and the week in between to make your game, so you don't have infinite time. Like, even if you could, for example, make GTA in Make Code Arcade, you wouldn't have the time to do it. So try and stay within those constraints and try and understand that it's really important to stay on scope and like use the kit as it was designed. Maybe embellish a little bit. We're gonna be on Discord. We're all going to be on Discord to help you, but don't like go and try adding physics to make Code Arcade, because it wasn't built for that. It's just like a top-down engine game, has some texts. Have fun with it. Yeah, keep it simple.
I think the biggest challenge about Twine is the fact that it kind of looks intimidating because there's only a bunch of code, and you look at it and you're like, whoa, I'm never gonna be able to process all of this. But the counterpart of it is that once you start using the buttons, and when you start learning the syntax, you're gonna be able to write it down pretty easily, and you're gonna feel really smart. So there's that. Yeah, it's not really hard. I think just as Chris said, it's all about the fact that you need to make sure that you don't overscope, that you don't you don't create a 2-hour experience. Try to make it a few minutes if you can. But it just needs to be something that works rather than making something super long with 20 different storylines. Keep it simple. Yeah.
Yeah. So what you and Raresh actually said is true for any game jam or any contest that has a limited time. Actually, not only with Twine or with GameDeMic Arcade. Even if you're making with pure code or Unity or Unreal or whatever, the rule still stands. Like you need to make it as make code arcade. Sorry, Raresh, that one. I always forget, like I said. But yeah, I think this is the best rule for contests. Just make it work pretty fast, make it basic, and afterwards, if you have time, you can add more content or features that are more complex or stuff like that.
I think a couple more things that I need to add before we finish is that for everyone that haven't actually went onto our website, the project is delivered in Romanian, and that's essentially because we're targeting the Romanian minority from Suffolk. Everyone can essentially participate in the game, but the prize will be allocated for the Romanian community between the 14 and 25 years old. So in terms of the competitions, how those are going to work, you're going to have every 2 weeks a competition, and at the end of each week, at the end of that competition, the winner will be announced, and the prize of £100 will be allocated to the winner. You will only have those 2 weeks, so you don't really have much more time. So if you don't finish your game, essentially, then that's it. You can't really go over. You have the opportunity to actually ask any of us to help you, not to help create the game, but to give you advice. So any questions, if Raresh, you can put the email address in the chat, that'll be useful. Any other questions before we close from anyone?
One thing that I'm posting the email address now. It's just hello@gameanglia.co.uk. You can also go on the website and subscribe and like fill in the contact form. So we're going to send you updates with the links where everything is going to be held. We're going to be holding this on Zoom. I think the only other thing that's important for me is that we really want to hear your stories for related to COVID, because that's what this is all about. Like the project itself is related to COVID in that we are going to have COVID related themes. I'm not gonna go into detail because the theme is going to be secret and we're only going to announce it on the day the competition starts. But that's where all of this is centered around, right? Is the Romanian community, as Alex was saying, it's COVID, and hopefully we can get something good out of all of this chaos that's been happening over the past year and a half. Your games, your stories with the kits that we've put together, and then we're going to hopefully give you some cash to the best stories, and we hopefully want you to learn how to make games. We've all been there, like as you heard, some people here are alumni, others like myself, like Aurelian, we're game devs. You're going to meet a game developer every couple of weeks who's like Romanian speaker, from all over the world. Some from the UK, some from Romania, some from like other places in Europe. And we want you to understand that like this is an actual job, that you can make a game, that you can tell a story, that interactive narrative games are a thing. And then we want you to turn all of the bad stuff that's been happening, or the good stuff, into like your story, own it, and then put it into an interactive narrative format. That's it.
I wanted to add something regarding what you said regarding the limitation of COVID and the limitation of the team that we're not going to say today. I remember that first time when I participated in a contest or a game jam that was not really a contest because there weren't any prizes. I was kind of afraid of the limitation because game jams are usually based on a theme that is announced at the beginning of the game jam or at the beginning of the contest if it's a contest. And I was afraid of the limitation because I thought, well, I have to do something pretty fast with some new idea or new theme that I haven't heard before. However, those themes are actually helping a lot. They're really helping because you're not wandering around like you would if you wouldn't have a theme. So don't be afraid of that. That's for your best and for for developers best. Usually, even in full-fledged game development, you have to have some theme, some limitation, some genre of game or something like that in order to make it efficient. Otherwise, your creativity will just wander around, and most of the time, you'll take most of the time of trying to find out the best idea. You're gonna do that anyway, but with some themes, it's gonna be a lot easier.
Look, and again, we have this Discord server, right? That all of us are on. That's called Game Heroes, and it's basically the server that we started when we originally got together and we said, hey, let's bring together the Romanian game dev community and one that's not toxic and like make a cool safe space for game developers who are looking to learn. So that's where Game Heroes came from. And you guys have had what, 5 game jams that have been coordinated on Game Heroes so far? So everybody who takes part in this also goes to Game Heroes. That's also a Romanian first server. People speak English as well, but it's Romanian first server. And any questions that you might have, any issues that you might have, post them there. Everybody is there to help, including like our project team, including other game jammers and participants in similar projects from Romania and now from like the Romanian speaking community in the UK.
Yeah, there's a quite nice community building there, slow and steady, but of what I've seen in the later game jams that we've organized there are more and more awesome people that are really willing to help and that have quite an experience with stuff like this. So yeah, please ask everything there. Well, within the contest or before that or after that or whenever, people will help.
Yep.
So I think if that's everything, then that's it for today. So we're gonna see you all on the workshops on the 9th.
Yep. It's good.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thanks.
See you all.
See you in the
Okay,
workshops.
goodbye.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.